The last episode we had shortly before this one, we were talking about the nature of our politicians, the kind of politicians we elect into office. And sometimes they ask the question, will there ever be a change at all? And that is precisely the reason why there is a great necessity of changing the system. Why is it that it is the system that we must change? Well, as a professor from the University of the Philippines has once told me, let us just wait for all of these politicians to fade away, to exit from this planet before we can actually have any changes. Because precisely unless we change the system, they will get themselves elected and re-elected again. If not them, then possibly members of their family. And the sad part about it is, if they do not have the position, for instance, that they're running for, what they do is they either split a city so that you could run in the other half of the city, or they split a province, or they split a district, and then they can run there, or their wife can run there, or somebody else in their family can run there. So you see, it's not the men and the women that we have to change, because there's no changing them anymore. After decades and decades of exactly what they are, they've improved how it is to gain power, to gain more power, and to maintain that power by themselves, for themselves, and whatever it is that they can have power as far as their families are concerned. And who supports them? Then you have the vested interests. I already spoke of this. These are the rich people who would go to these politicians and say, okay, I'll put you into office, you're going to sit there, but this is what I want in return. This is true practically for all positions, from the barangay level all the way up to the Senate. So again, as I've said, what do we do in order that we could have an improvement, that we can change this kind of a landscape that we have as far as politics are concerned? Well, we change the system. How do we change the system? That's exactly what early on many of our presidents have already thought of amending our Constitution. The fundamental law actually provides all the different ways by which we are going to hold an election, the kind of people, of course, that will be elected there. If they do have qualifications, it is still not written there, not very specific anyway. So it is the system, and the system is in the Constitution. You know, it's like, as they say, when you're cooking leche flan, for instance, it will not be as molded as it is if you do not have the mold. That's why that's exactly how you're supposed to cook it. You have to have the mold for it. If you don't have the mold, hindi mabubuo. So kailangan talaga meron yung pinaglalagyan. All of these ingredients, the egg, the condensed milk, etc. Well, that's the system. Unless we have that system, all the people that you're going to put inside really won't be able to stand the quality of leadership that we need. So where does the system go? As I've said, it is in the Constitution. And there we have had several studies and several of the efforts that were undertaken, not just by the people in the academe, but also those involved in electoral and political reforms in the local government units themselves, who feel that some changes really must be done. So what have they proposed? Take, for instance, are there qualifications? You see, it's just an age limit. You have to be 40 years old, you have to be a resident of the place, you have to be, well, at least for a year, a resident there, or 10 years if you intend to run for the presidency. Very, very limited qualifications, really. But that is supposed to be what a democratic way of life is. As they say, anybody should have a chance to be able to run for public office. So you don't limit it only for those who've had summa cum laudes or college degrees, so that everybody else who may not have had any formal kind of education could be qualified, because that's exactly how a democratic system is supposed to work. But that's exactly too why it has been much abused, and there have been many ways by which people running for public office do not merit being there. So if we have changes in the Constitution, what will happen? Well, first it will be the party system. A candidate for any office must have a certain political party to which he or she belongs. That political party must have a program of government. Unless that program of government is quite clear and is specific as far as what that person or the persons in that party intend to do, then the COMELEC or the Commission on Elections will not be able to certify that the candidate or that political party is qualified. So first, a program of government. Second, it must have an ideology. What is an ideology? There has to be some kind of a philosophical base. Exactly what are you standing for? It is not a matter of just talking about it. It is a matter of internalizing this. And that is very important as far as public service is concerned. And then the other matter which is also important is that all donations or whatever kind of financial support will be given to the candidate will have to be coursed through the political party, and the political party must report this immediately to the Commission on Elections, passing through what is known as an auditing system, that whoever donates cannot donate billions and billions of pesos. It is limited to 100,000 to 1,000,000, and this has to be recorded in the bank. In other words, it is not given directly to the candidate, it is passed to the bank, so that there is a record of the kind of finances that is going for the purpose of supporting a candidate. So this is not something na one-on-one, or I am running for mayor and so somebody gives me 1,000,000 pesos. No, my political party handles this. So it is like a basket full of funds for that political party to be utilized for all the other candidates of that political party for several positions, from, as I said, from down to the barangay captain all the way up to the Senate. In this manner, you limit the control of the rich or those with vested interests as far as the candidates are concerned. Why is this important? Well, you just have to look at the way Congress is functioning today. You see how the strings attached to many of them, puppets of several interests and puppets of several invested concerns. That's exactly what has happened. And if you want to change it, as we said, you have to get down to the fundamentals, which is exactly how you support your candidates. But can we really be able to make sure that they are the kind of candidates that we want to be seated there? Well, it's really all up to us. We, the people, have that great privilege, that great right, and that immense responsibility, and that is the power of suffrage. That's the power of your vote. That is how you can decide your future, by getting into office those people who are truly qualified. We'll get back to this sometime again in our other chronicles, because then we have to talk about how are we going to elect them now that we have this distancing, and now that we have to wear masks, and now that we cannot be crowding. So you can imagine election day will have to be completely changed come 800 days from today.